who would you say plays that game very well in the fashion world? And with that bespoke situation we're talking about, in other words, quality.
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey?
Yeah. Steve Harvey is, he gets it, he understands it, he bleeds it. I know him personally, I've dressed him, he just gets it.
That's next level, for real, for real. And crazy, this is next level, this is OG.
So hear what I say, for it is the truth you see. There can only be one, the original.
OG, two letters that define respect. Welcome to the original OGs. I created the original OGs to document the forgotten parts of American history. I want to recognize and give a voice to the men and women that have climbed to the top of their game. Believe me, the men and women that sit in front of this marquee have been authenticated as original OGs. My name is Mr. Rick. Welcome to my world, a world of the originals, the unique. Welcome to the original OGs. Welcome. This is OG Mr. Rick, and we're going to give you a special show today. People keep asking me, where do you get your style from? Where do you get your hats? Where do you get your shoes? Where do you this, that, and the other? So we're going to deal with that today. I mean, this brother's a doctor at this game of fashion. I mean, he's been in it for 40 years. He's a master at it. You went to school where in order to learn your craft?
Well, I went to Prosser and Whitney Young High School, and I always knew at 9 years old I wanted to be a buyer.
Oh, wow.
And how that happened was my mother was having a phone conversation, which I overheard, and she was talking about buyers. So when she got off the phone, I asked her, I said, well, what is a buyer? She said they travel and they buy things.
Oh, right up my alley.
And when I heard that travel, that's something that stuck.
I get it.
And in high school and college, that's what I studied. I studied fashion merchandising at SIU. About 1980.
Okay.
I had an uncle and aunts that had a ladies' clothing store at 79th and Cottage.
Oh, wow.
And I started interning and getting college credits and going to the trade shows, New York, buying merchandise. So I was buying while I was in college.
Right. How does the internship work when you're in college and you're working at a store?
Well, basically, you just getting credits. You know, you're getting credits and not getting paid.
Right.
You know, so you have some pay, but this wasn't a paid intern. But the knowledge that I got was worth any amounts of money.
I get it.
Because, you know, I'm going to say in my merchandising class for SIU, it was maybe 200 of us. And I'm willing to say maybe only 2 or 3 of us actually worked in the industry or worked in the industry.
Wow, and we're talking about on 79th and Cottage. Back then, 79th and Cottage was a black mecca. So your parents or your relative, your uncle, they're already doing business in that area.
Already doing business. My uncle would always tell me, he said, well, when you graduate college, we're gonna open a men's clothing store.
Oh, wow.
So when I graduated, I was telling you earlier, I felt like I was king of the world and I can go find a job anywhere.
Right.
So I went to the big department stores, the Neiman's, the Bloomingdale's, the Kmart's, the Walmart's, the Davis for Men, you name it. I couldn't buy a job.
Oh, wow.
And after I got my own store, I understood why. I used to think it was because I was black.
Right.
It was because none of the people that owned the stores looked like me. And they could hire basically whoever they wanted to hire. You know, there are laws, you know, to fight against that, but, you know, they not paying attention to the laws, you know. So what happens is, let's say that I'm a buyer for Neiman Marcus. So that means that, let's say I'm a dress buyer. I buy this dress, it comes to the store. It's either A, gonna go in the window, or it's gonna go in the magazine. It's gonna go on display somewhere. So that means that I am dictating what Mr. Goldberg and Mr. Silverstein's wife's hemline is gonna be.
Right.
And they not about to let no black man have that kind of power.
Understood.
Okay, and
Understood.
when I got my own store, that's when I understood
what they were thinking.
What they were thinking.
I get it. So you kind of, rather than putting the race in it, you kind of gravitated toward that mindset yourself.
Yeah, it's called power.
Yeah.
Okay, and you were trending.
I get it.
And we talked about us as black folks controlling the narrative through art, through fashion, and the way the youth is today, they're all upside down because the music is upside down.
I get it.
And the trends are upside down.
I get it.
You know, the guys come to me, they complain about the skinny suit, the short suit, you know, looking like Pee Wee Herman.
Right.
That's because it's driven by gay men, and they're dictating the trend. So
Totally
that's what it's gonna be.
Totally get it.
Until we take control and start owning more stores where we can put in our windows the looks that we want, okay?
The other night before, you and I went to the Harper Theater and watched the King of Kings, the history of the Jones brothers, who were owners of the first department store, black department store in America.
Yes.
We're sitting in that building.
Yes.
Kind of go over who the Jones brothers were.
They were the policy kings. They were the numbers brothers. And basically, you know, there were lots of policy wheels in the United States, in Chicago, but these guys were liked by the community.
Right.
And they had the #1 policy wheel in the United States.
Wow.
Therefore, at that time, they were the richest black men in America.
Wow.
And that was the only source that black folks could borrow money. Wow. Even Mr. Ebony Johnson was bankrolled by the Jones brothers to start Ebony and Jet magazine. Wow. And I'm sure they had monies for the Negro Baseball League.
Oh, sure.
Because we're talking, you know, 1920, the start of the Negro Baseball League was started right here in Chicago.
Right.
Guy by the name of Rube Foster.
Oh, wow. That's a new one on me.
Yeah.
The Negro Baseball League was started here in Chicago?
Chicago, 1920.
First of all, let's back up a little bit before we get there. This was the first black department store in America owned by the Jones brothers, the policy kings. I went back to that to say that this is now
my showroom.
This is your store now.
This is my showroom store. Miglio D. Mario Uomo.
Right.
And Flyball showroom. We manufacture Negro League baseball sweaters.
Okay.
And t-shirts and caps. And again, you know, I do it because I'm trying to control the narrative to tell our story, because a lot of American history came out of baseball.
Oh, yes.
Baseball is America's oldest sport.
Wow.
Okay. And the last black player played in Major League Baseball about 1867, 1869, little after slavery was abolished.
Oh, okay.
And the other team didn't want to play his team. His name was Moses Walker. They didn't want to play his team because he was black. So they asked him to quit. So you didn't get another black player in Major League Baseball till 1946, 47,
wow,
when Jackie Robinson crossed over.
So
during that period was the period of the Negro Baseball League.
Who started the Negro Baseball League?
Rube Foster started it right here in Chicago, 1920. He lived at 32nd and Vernon.
Oh, wow, that's down the street.
Right down the street, which is Lake Meadows today.
Who were some of the people that started with that league?
Who were some of the people?
Yeah, some of the players.
Man, you got Josh Gibson.
Wow.
Cool Papa Bell.
Wow.
And Turkey Stern. But I can't, there's players that are older than that, but I can't call their names right now. But those were some of the greats to ever play. And you know, Major League Baseball just incorporated the Negro League statistics with white baseball. So now the black players own most of the records in Major League Baseball now.
Wow. You know, so once again, there's a black baseball league started by a black man, and it disappears.
Disappeared, just like the policy turned into the lottery. You know, we saw the documentary the other night.
Right.
And Ed Jones, he died in 1964.
Wow.
The lottery came about, the Illinois lottery came about in 1974. That was just 10 years after his death.
Wow.
His body wasn't even cold yet. They just stole our black wealth.
As they do so many things. It's always, we create something and then they come in and gobble it up.
Yeah.
And make it appear as if it belonged to them all the time.
And see, what's important about the Jones brothers is, you know, we're talking about fashion today. They owned a tailor shop.
Wow. And
they were like always cleaner than little children on Easter Sunday.
Oh my God.
Okay? They were super clean.
I mean.
And even, you know, guys like Al Capone and his cronies, when they came up to Bronzeville, they thought they could dress until they saw the Jones brothers, and they had to give it up. They had to tell them, oh, you guys are super clean.
These were educated men.
Very educated.
Very.
Doctors.
Because they had the education.
Right.
They understood business.
They were black economics. They were our economic base.
Without a doubt.
And the white folks just stole our economic base.
A straight collapse.
And I know at last year they showed the documentary, and Harmeen Hartman, Indigo Magazine, she sponsored one of the showings for the documentary. And at the end of the documentary, she talked about starting a campaign for black folks to take the lottery back.
Oh, wow.
Because that is our money. That's our community wealth.
Exactly.
Now they pulled the rug out from under us when they locked them, you know, when they stole it from us, just straight
Total
took
collapse.
It.
Total collapse. Let's talk a little bit about who stole it.
It was people who didn't look like us. It was the government, the state took it.
So
because Al Capone now was controlling it for a little period after Ed died, and they eventually took it, the
right.
Al Capone. But I'm sure when Al Capone ended up going to jail and his thing collapsed, that's when the state took it over.
Well, when you look at that situation, Al Capone goes to prison, they send Big Ed to prison, you know, and then these gang wars start. Now, Ed's in prison with Sam Giancana. He comes out, he and Sam Giancana start to do business.
Right.
The next thing you know, the people that were with Sam Giancana start putting pressure on Big Ed.
Right.
They end up killing one of his brothers.
Yep.
You know, so without being
Teddy Rowe. They killed Teddy Rowe, who was the enforcer for the Jones brothers.
Okay.
I always carried 2 pistols.
Right. Because policy was a big thing, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to visit that property where they actually ran the business of policy at on.
It's on 43rd in Indiana. It was a tailor shop in the front, and they counted the money in the back of the tailor shop.
Very fascinating stuff.
And the Forum Theater, where they pulled the numbers, is still standing also.
Oh, wow.
So it's in the process of being rehabbed.
Oh, wow.
And I had a chance to walk through it a couple months ago this summer, and it's gonna be a fabulous piece of work.
I want to go back in time a little bit because I'm very passionate about who we used to be. This book here is in Bronzeville. It tells the Black history of Bronzeville and the people that lived within Bronzeville. And if you can see it, I don't know if you can, but here you have Black people going to the theater. Which theater is this?
That's the Regal.
This is the first Regal on?
It's on King Drive.
47th?
Right here, 47th
47th and King Drive. They're all well dressed. Suits, ties, dress shoes, and hats. And this is how we conducted ourselves on a daily basis. You know, when our parents went to work, if they weren't doing hard construction or what have you, they were leaving the home with the suit and a tie on. They say you're not properly dressed if you didn't have a dress hat on, you know. Even in the cold times, if you didn't have gloves on, you were improperly dressed.
It was a lifestyle then, and I was sharing with you, sportswear didn't exist then.
Exactly.
And that's how everyone dressed, because you didn't have a choice. Blue jeans was for working, and you did not wear blue jeans.
Exactly.
Okay? So when them guys were, you know, in that period, like the Jones brothers owned the tailor shop, I mean, they had like no choice but to be the best dressed men in Chicago. I have a hat manufacturer that I deal with today, and I went to his office. He said, Bruce, he said, look at this picture. The picture was from about 1950.
Wow.
He said, what do you see? I mean, it was like, say, 1,000 men on this
Right.
on this picture. He
With
said,
all hats.
He said, all these guys wore hats. He said, now the hat industry is about to be obsolete.
Oh my God.
So people don't even wear hats no more.
Crazy.
They you know, they are, it's like, wow.
They have stolen our culture.
It even goes back to the church. You know, people today go to church wearing anything.
Oh wow, come as you
know,
are.
Back then, you had to wear a suit and a tie and a clean shirt. Right. So I'm glad, you know, to see that this program, the Original OGs, is showing an image of a well-dressed Black man.
Hey, well, just take a look.
Which is like a prehistoric animal, like a dinosaur. Okay. So this is how you start to reverse the trend. Okay?
Exactly.
You have, and this is one of the reasons I went into the men's clothing industry, so that I can show Black mannequins with a shirt and tie on.
Right.
Okay. And when I first opened in the 80s, I couldn't find Black mannequins.
Oh wow.
And the reason why, there wasn't enough Black stores to demand Black mannequins, and the white stores wasn't putting no Black mannequin in the window with no shirt and tie. No, it wasn't gonna happen.
That wasn't gonna happen at all.
So finally, now in the year 2024, you have a couple more
right.
manufacturers that even make Black mannequins, okay? And I was talking with you earlier saying how most of my friends were art majors.
Right.
And first thing you learn in art history is how Leonardo da Vinci and those white artists were commissioned by the Catholic churches to paint white figures of Jesus.
Right.
I think it was Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo was like, what does white Jesus look like? They told, just paint a white man.
They took
he didn't know where to even start.
They painted the picture of the son of a pope. He became the first Jesus.
And, you know, I even have a problem with our black churches. How can you preach the word and you got a white Jesus in your church, on your wall, on your big marquee? I have a problem with that. Keep it moving. Yeah. I understand.
So, you know, here's where we are presently sitting. Can you take us through that?
This is the store. This is the 5 and 10 to Ben Franklin. This is what it looked like in 1941.
Wow, 1941. See if we can hold that a little closer to the camera. Turn page back, please. Okay.
So this was the hat department of that store we're talking about. That we're sitting in, the Jones Brothers store, the Ben Franklin. So this is the store. This is the physical store there, and this was their hat department. And this is the space that we're sitting in today that was the Jones Brothers department store.
Where his story is now.
Right, this is where we're at right now.
Yeah. I don't know, did they build it?
No, they didn't build it because this was Borton's Milk. In the 1800s, this building was a milk dairy.
Okay. And, well, I know in the documentary, they owned the milk dairy.
No, they owned the milk trucks.
They owned the trucks. Okay, so they would come and get the supplies from here.
No, they owned the trucks because they had the contract, but they could have, I don't know.
Right.
They were delivering milk to the Chicago public schools.
Right.
And when they wasn't delivering milk, they were taking the policy money to the banks and the milk trucks.
Exactly. So policy allowed black people to put their nickels and dimes together in order to try to eat the next day. The Jones Brothers controlled it in a way that, as Bruce said earlier, even if you didn't hit, if you were employed, you could come to them and borrow money in order to sustain yourself.
And the story goes that Al Capone used guns to take what he wanted. The Jones Brothers used guns to keep what they had.
I suggest that you get a chance, go and watch the documentary, whether you're white or black.
And his granddaughter, great-granddaughter who did the documentary, she knew nothing about her grandfather and what he had done in Chicago.
Right, and what he had done for their family.
She didn't know. They didn't know that story.
Very interesting part of our history, very, very much so. So I want to kind of move forward here. Let's continue with your journey in fashion.
Well, my journey has been a interesting one. You know, I've been able to dress some of the greatest OGs in the world. And when I heard about the show, I'm like, oh, I gotta be on there.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because I didn't dress a lot of these guys, okay? A journey that I started, my uncle and I started this journey to dress black men.
Exactly.
Because there wasn't an upscale store for black men. So we started this store for black men because no one was catering to black men on the upscale level, okay? So when we opened, we would have guys come in the store, they'd be like, y'all too high. So I had to say, hold on. I say, when you get on the airplane, you got 250 seats in coach. You got 12 seats in first class.
Exactly.
We catering to them guys that want to sit in first class. And at some point in your life, you will want, you're gonna need something better. That's when you come see me. I ain't mad at you. Yeah, we have. That's
we're cut above.
That's what we're doing.
Exactly.
Nobody was doing that for us. Sure, there were other black-owned stores, but not at the level that we came in at.
Exactly.
Okay?
So, I know you yourself have owned 3 or 4 different stores. Who are some of the people that you have addressed in your journey?
Oh man, we can
be all day.
We be, yeah, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, Mick Jagger, George Clinton.
Are you hearing this?
Boyz II Men, Big Daddy Kane, okay, Malcolm Jamal Warner. As a matter of fact, Malcolm Jamal Warner came and he bought a yellow suit from me and wore it on the Arsenio Hall show.
Wow.
And gave us a big plug on the Arsenio Hall show.
Oh, wow. That's love.
Then we end up getting involved with the Ebony Fashion Fair towards the end of it.
Wow.
So I can say that, yeah, I was a part of the Ebony Fashion Fair, and we got plugged in Jet Magazine, and I had developed a relationship with Miss Johnson before she died.
Wow.
And that was quite interesting because it was kind of like people were scared to step to her.
Right.
So when I first met her, I say, Miss Johnson, how come you always, every year you buy the ladies new stuff and you don't buy the men new stuff every year? I say, a lot of stuff is outdated.
Right.
So I guess she thought about it. She said, you know what, you got a point there. And she ended up buying a men's suit for herself from me.
Oh, wow.
So we had kind of, became kind of cool. And then she came back the next year to get new stuff. And
wow.
After that, I think her health failed or they stopped doing the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a relationship with Mr. Johnson?
Oh, my relationship with Mr. Johnson is interesting because they had a magazine called EM Magazine. And I went to New York to meet with the advertising department because my clothing vendors were coming to me. They said, well, Bruce, we want to give you some advertising dollars and put some ads in magazine for you.
Right.
They said, do you want to be in GQ or M?
Wow.
I said, no, I want to be in Ebony Magazine, EM.
Right.
They like, EM, they like, what's that? So they said, that ain't on our list. That's not a fashion magazine. But we as black men look to EM for fashion direction.
It then was our GQ.
So I go to New York and meet with the advertising department. They say, well, Mr. Gage, it's a lifestyle magazine. I said, well, hell, you got Jet and Ebony, ain't those lifestyles? Why you gotta have a third one? So I still was fighting with my Italian vendors to put ads in there.
Right.
And at that time, Hugo Boss, Giorgio Armani, Versace were big. So EM, Ebony Man, I went to New York to visit with the advertising department because my vendors want to spend this money.
Right.
So they said, we don't see enough fashion ads in there for us to spend money. All we see is cigarettes and cars. So that's why I went to New York to say, look, you guys should solicit Giorgio Armani and Fodi and Mari to put ads in these magazines because I got vendors who want to spend money.
Right.
And when I went, of course, they didn't even know these fashion people. I'm like, look, y'all missing a whole market here, segment market. You're missing money. So long story short, Mr. Johnson was threatening to pull the plug on the whole Ebony Man magazine. He was threatening to pull, that's what I said, because It was in New York. He couldn't keep an eye on it. So he brought it back to Chicago and was going to have everything done here at the Chicago office. And I was going to be a stylist for the EM magazine. Mm-hmm. And before that could happen, he pulled the plug anyway.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, so you guys, as the original OGs, you have an opportunity here to do a men's magazine.
Exactly.
There's a big void for a black men's magazine because, you know, we got all different styles, you know, the preachers and the street hustlers, the pimps and the steppers, and you know, everybody has a certain style. They got a lifestyle.
Right.
And there's no magazine that's covering it. Okay. That's why I was happy that you guys have me on the show today to talk about fashion, because it's a big part of the OG. It is the OGs.
It's impossible not to incorporate that.
I mean, you go back to the beaver hats, you know, you had the Ivy Leaguers and the Gousters in the 60s.
Wow.
Okay. And the Continentals, okay. Those were the more of the European dress style that the guys were wearing back then. The Ivy Leaguers were kind of preppy. It was a preppy
right.
look. The Gousters had the pleated pants and the beaver hats and the long coats.
Right.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit specifically about Chicago style.
And it is a style.
Yeah, trust me.
Because everywhere I go, people know I'm from Chicago. They're like, you ain't from here. I'm just talking about I go to New York.
Right.
You know, the brothers come up to me, they like, you from Chicago or Detroit? I said, from Chicago.
Right.
They said, we know you weren't from New York.
So you do it different.
Oh yeah, we do it different, and we're well respected.
You give your stuff flavor. You know what I'm saying? It's not over the top, you know, but there's enough style in it that you can go anywhere and it's still a comfortable fit.
Well, I remember the days when the attorneys used to come in the store, doctors come in the store,
right,
and the accountants, the finance people. The finance people was always squared. Oh, they's the computer people, they square as a pool table. The doctors, they were kind of hip, but the attorneys, oh, they got it.
Oh yeah, they whole nother game.
And I used to have a couple. Remember, I had one client come in. I showed him a certain tie. He like, I can't wear that. I said, you can wear it.
What do you mean?
All you gotta do is put it on and wear it. No, I can't wear it. So I ended up talking him into getting it, and he came back and he thanked me. He said, man, I'm so glad you talked me into that tie. He said, man, I got so many compliments. And that happened a lot, okay? And the quality-wise, you know, my uncle used to always say, when you sell good stuff, you can sleep at night.
Exactly.
You ain't got to worry about, you know, it coming back.
Exactly.
It tearing up. Sometimes I think the stuff is too good because I see guys now, man, I still got that coat. That's 40 years ago.
Describe for me what makes a good suit. What makes a quality suit?
The fabric.
Fabric.
The workmanship.
Right, the craftsmanship.
The tailoring.
Right.
The finish.
You know, let's give them some detail because most people.
Well, you want a suit that's has canvas. It's finished on the inside with canvas and not glue.
You gotta
see
understand
guys with puckers in their lapel, that's because they were glued.
Exactly.
And that glue has popped loose. So the good suits have canvas.
Right.
And some of them even have canvas with horsehair.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And see, what a lot of people don't understand, there's a lot of people in this town say they get their suits made. And there's only one guy, and I'm gonna call his name Maurice Hood, who could make me a suit. Okay. Most of the tailors that call themselves a tailor in this town don't have the proper equipment to make a suit correctly.
Oh, wow.
Let's say there are 50 steps to making a suit correctly.
Right.
And a lot of these, I'm gonna call them street tailors, only got 10 of the steps.
Oh, wow.
Okay, they missing 40 steps. And they don't have access to the really, really, really nice fabric.
Why is that?
Because they don't sell it to the public.
Oh, wow.
It's only wholesale.
Wow.
Okay, and when they do sell the very good fabric to the public, the tailors are buying it retail. They're not getting a wholesale price on it.
Right.
So that means they're gonna make you a suit starting at retail, and it's gonna be 4 times of what it should cost.
Oh, wow.
And they ain't gonna have the equipment to make it correctly. I was at Chicago State. I was teaching fashion merchandising.
Okay.
So I took my students to New York on a field trip, and a young lady come in my store, she overheard me talking to her boyfriend about my students. She said, well, Mr. Gage, why don't you bring them to see me? I said, well, where are you? She said, I work for Cotton Incorporated.
Oh, wow.
I said, you do what? She said, yeah. So do you know what Cotton Incorporated is?
No, I can only imagine. I know what the theory of it is, but you explain it.
You've seen the little cotton symbol on a tag or a garment. That's Cotton Incorporated. They have a whole building in New York that takes up a whole square New York block.
Wow.
With about 30 floors in it.
Wow.
And it's all for cotton.
Different forms of cotton.
It was all for cotton. When I say all for cotton,
nothing but cotton.
It deals with the farmers, the people who dye the fabric, people who weave the fabric, and they have offices in Singapore, New York, Brazil, every part of the world.
Right.
Me being a fashion merchandising major, I didn't know what Cotton Incorporated did till I went there. And I got a buddy who went there, who is in the clothing industry. He went there, and he said he cried. He cried because he said black folks picked all this cotton for them to build this building. So what happens with Cotton Incorporated, they come out with a quarterly book that tells you what the color's gonna be for the season.
Oh, wow.
They get together and they dictate with the other farmers, oh, I'm dyeing green. I'm gonna make pinstripe cotton. And they even tell you what to make, what you can make out of the cotton. Umbrellas, children's clothes, men's shirts, everything that deals with cotton. I'm like, oh my God. I had no idea. Like I said, I was a fashion merchandising major.
Right.
So I was blown away. Before slavery, everything was made out of hemp, ropes, the sails for the boats, the clothes, and they wasn't much maintenance to growing hemp.
Right.
So cotton is real finicky.
Okay.
So they wanted to start the slave trade and grow cotton. I guess maybe it yields more money or whatever. Don't know the answer to that. But that was the reason for the transatlantic slave trade was for cotton.
Right.
Okay? Then cotton became king of the world. And they outlawed hemp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they outlawed it.
Mm.
And it ain't the hemp that you smoke.
Right.
It's I believe it's the male plant. That's the one you use for fabric. Okay.
How does that look in the streets of fashion with street players and pimps and the game in itself as we know it? How did that fashion come about if you have that history?
Well, it's kind of sad because we really don't participate in it. All we are is consumers.
Exactly.
Okay. And let's talk about the urban fashion. I'm sure the audience remember FUBU, Cross Colors, Nietzsche, Sean John, Fat Farm, Carl Kanai. You know what happened to them?
Explain.
Those players that I just named were making probably the lowest one was about 70 million.
Wow.
The top player was maybe like 400 or 500 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Levi Strauss was about to go out of business. So what they did is the Liz Claibornes of the world and the other big white players bought them.
Wow.
And they bought them and put them on the shelf so that they didn't have to compete against them.
Against Levi?
Against Carl Kanai.
Oh, okay.
FUBU.
Right.
Nietzsche.
Wow.
So they put Tommy Hilfiger out front.
So here we go with the same dynamics.
Same dynamic. Stole our wealth. Bought it, put it on the shelf. That's what happened to it.
Until it just
it don't exist
died.
No more.
Yeah, until it died.
It's dead. Yes.
Wow, it's throwback now.
Yeah, I mean it's sad. It's like when Mr. Johnson sold BET.
What a nightmare.
I mean, it's like all our industry get bought. At what point do you say we're going to stand up and keep it? The only one that didn't sell out was Sean John.
Oh, really?
So whatever he's going through now, you have to respect him for that. Wow. He did not sell out. He was the only one that didn't sell.
And his brand of Sean John before his situation as of now.
I don't know where it is now, where the brand is now.
No, I'm saying before that happened, the brand was still.
I'm not sure. I don't know. But I know he didn't sell it. He didn't sell out.
That's a beautiful thing.
He didn't take the money and run.
Wow.
And that's part of the reason, because he had a guy by the name of Jeff Tweedy on his team who came from the clothing industry, who used to work for Polo and Hugo Boss.
Okay.
So he really understood the game.
At another level.
Yes. And a lot of them other brands, they didn't have a player like that on their team.
Right.
So he had started opening Sean John stores. I mean, he took it another step.
Oh my God.
And the mother brands didn't do that.
Right.
And the way the game works is you really have to be a vertical company where you manufacture it, you market it, you sell it, and you have your own store in which to sell it.
Right. So that's getting back into the original way of doing business with your high-end people?
Well, that's the smart way to do it, and
Right.
that's the future of retail.
Right.
Okay, so you look at a guy like Giorgio Armani. He got a store in Singapore, Tokyo, New York, Chicago, Detroit. When it's nighttime here, it's daytime over there.
Money
Cash
steady
register
coming.
still ringing.
Right.
Cash register ringing 24 hours a day. And this is the path Sean John was getting on, where he was opening and at the option of franchising the name to open stores. They were planning to come to Chicago.
Brother has a bad situation right now. I'm not gonna sit here and say what he did, what he didn't do. Seems like the demise is always the same formula.
As always.
You know what
Same
I'm
with
saying?
Stack Records.
I mean, we keep going back.
Sam Cooke.
We keep going back. It's the same formula.
The black man has a glass ceiling.
And when he hits that glass
We're only
ceiling,
going so far.
yeah, they're not gonna let him break that glass ceiling. You
Not
know?
gonna happen.
And I mean, I'm saying that to say to black people, things are being offered to you, doors are being opened to you in order for you to implicate yourself in ways that you're going to end up shooting yourself in the head. When they pull the cover off of it, you're going to be screwed.
Same with Oprah Winfrey.
Hey, it's repetitive, man. Bill Cosby, you want to keep going? You just, Michael Jackson, Prince, you want to just keep going?
Yep.
It's the same game, you know, and we got to be a little bit smarter. And we're talking about Sean John. If you don't go back that far, you know, we're talking about Puffy, P. Diddy, however. This is the human being that we're talking about now. He's a brother. He's still a brother. I can't. I don't want to engage into what his legal battles are because I don't know what's true and what's false, but I know it don't look good, you know. So moving on, you know, into, or moving back, how did you, in this industry, how did you cater to, here in Chicago before the spread of it, how did you cater to and how do you see or how did you see the world of stepping?
For the most part, the steppers, they are people who wear inexpensive dress clothes.
The majority.
They not gonna spend money on clothes. They like inexpensive stuff.
Oh, wow.
Well, I can go back to the days of the dungeon.
Right.
When the guys were wearing the tailor-made. So during that time, I had a cousin, his name was Tweet.
Okay.
He was one of the top tailors on the stepper set at that time. Okay. Finger waves, the matching vests and pants and the overalls and, you know.
We're talking tailor-made clothing here. The work that you're talking about today, you know, you got your Italian quality, you know, you got your French, you got your different countries that excel.
You know what made the Italian special? Because they were built like black people.
Okay.
And they clothes fit us.
Okay.
Okay. That's what made the Italian special. The other thing that made the Italian special, they were one of the first. Let me say it again. They were one of the first to make fabric. They've been making fabric since the 1500s.
And still making, and still killing the game. Man.
They are the tops when it comes to making fabric. They like Michael Jordan.
Of fabric.
They the baddest.
Right.
Okay? It
I
don't
get it.
get no better. That's the Italians' claim to fame.
And they have cornered that market.
Oh, they own it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been my success here with my store, is that I sell Italian fabric.
I get it.
And it ain't cheap.
I totally
Guy
get it.
come in and said, why these pants cost $400? Because the fabric's from Italy, they made in Italy, and the dollar ain't worth nothing.
Hey, man.
So I had to pay triple to bring this pair of pants to you.
You understand.
Okay? This is why it costs what it does. But the quality ain't changed. And then that's what people don't understand. You know, the old world is still the old world. It costs more.
I've seen the suits, and this ain't top. I've seen the suits hit the mark of $10,000, $15,000.
Yeah, easily.
Some people that, you know, they just can't imagine that. That's crazy. That doesn't even make sense. But when you're living up on that hill, then that's just what you demand.
Right.
You know, that's a lifestyle, a quality of lifestyle that's consumed by only specific people.
Upper class.
Yeah.
That's an upper lifestyle.
Yeah, that's a next level lifestyle. You know, I've seen neckties for as more than $1,000. So first time I saw that, I'm like, for what? A necktie?
For that $10,000 suit. So
Exactly.
So you had that $10,000 suit, you can't put on $100.
You understand what I'm saying? It don't work. It will.
You can't
it
put
will
on a $300
destroy your
shirt.
whole image.
Yeah.
You know.
You gotta keep rolling.
Exactly. Let's look at life on the other side of the glass ceiling. Who would you say plays that game very well in the fashion world, and with that bespoke situation we're talking about? In other words, quality.
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
Person that I admire that does that so well. Young man, Nick Cannon. His shit is impeccable.
Steve Harvey is, he gets it. He understands it. He bleeds it. I know him personally. I've dressed him. And he just gets it. From his head to his shoes.
Toe. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me throw something on top of that. Steve is from where? Cleveland?
From Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ohio. I have never seen men that can get sharp as them cats out of Cleveland, Ohio. I've never seen them.
Speaking of Cleveland, I had a client from Cleveland, and he came to me. Matter of fact, it was Darius Miles. He said, Bruce, I want a certain look. He said, I want to look like a pimp. I said, I got you.
Not a problem.
I got you.
Not a problem.
I made him 4 gabardine trench coats.
Oh, wow.
Long. 4 or 5 suits, beaver hats.
Wow.
Shirts, neckties, French cuffs.
Wow.
And he spent around $30,000.
Wow. Crazy.
Cleveland.
I think it, for me, I think it's better understood by saying what the pimp wanted to look like. Because the pimp wanted to be flamboyant. He wanted to draw attention.
Some of them.
Yeah. Well, these particular ones we're talking about, because I knew some that were so smooth, you never would have got it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Too.
Right. So I'm talking about these particular ones. They grabbed that look from somewhere else.
Hey, they got a Good Game. Wasn't he from Cleveland?
Good Game was from Cleveland.
He was another one.
Oh,
super,
wicked.
Super
Good Game
shot.
was
oh my
wicked,
God.
wicked.
Super clean. Super clean.
Man, give them another one.
Irving Magic Johnson.
Oh my God. For a big man.
Oh my God. He gets it too.
Totally.
He know how to put it on, put it together, first class, okay? Is a good image for black men. I mean, he do it well.
No, I got to give it to the brother. Or, you know, if we start talking about sports, now we got to go back to
Walt Frazier.
You already know it, man. Hey, nobody did it like Walt Frazier, man.
You ain't lying.
Nobody did it like Walt Frazier.
To the point where I look at Walt Frazier now, back then, he was a little more put together. Now it's like, Walt, do you have a mirror in your house? I mean, he have this on with that and that and that. I'm like, oh my God. But he's always been that guy.
We talk about Italian style. You got to talk about the mob, the Italian mob. For you, who would you say carried that very well? That style.
The Jones brothers. There wasn't nobody cleaner than them. The Italian mob, the Chicago mob, they were the cleanest.
I can't argue
Hands down.
I can't argue that.
And you must see the documentary and you will understand. You wouldn't even ask that question.
And to be honest with you,
that's kind of an insult. But remember, they had their own tailor shop. They had their own tailor shop.
It was crazy. Speaking of Italians, I'm gonna tell you, I gotta give the fat man, Al Capone. I gotta give the fat man. Fat man was nasty, man.
He was clean.
Man, fat man was nasty. Wore the stupidest hat you ever want to see.
But you know what I like? The Godfather Harlem, the 60s, with the knits, the Italian knit sweaters.
There was a guy, I'm talking about Jeepers now. Jeepers lived to be, what, 80-something years old?
It might have been 90.
Might have been 90. This brother, his style was peculiar ever since I can remember. You know, unique human being with a unique style. The music in the background is the voice of Jeepers, Old Man Jeepers. That's a recording that you personally produced.
Together, yes.
Yes. To share to clear up your imagination. This book, Pimpnosis, Old Man Jeepers is in this book. I want you to look at what we're talking about here. This is phenomenal. Now, I'm gonna let Mr. Gage explain this to you and how phenomenal that really is. That guy, that look.
Let me tell you how this happened.
Yeah.
We met Jeepers at the Players Ball. I can't tell you which year, and
it was in the 90s.
It was in the 90s, and my cousin by the name of Tracy Funches, he came 2 years to the Players Ball and took pictures. So at that time, King Burt was doing his Players Ball. So he said, yeah, he can come and take pictures.
Right.
So after the second year, Tracy took the pictures to HBO.
Wow.
And when they saw the picture of Jeepers, they gave him a documentary deal.
Wow.
And put him together with the guy who did Hookers at the Point.
Wow.
And they came up with one big piece called Pimps Up, Hoes Down.
Wow.
So after all of that happened, my cousin wanted to do a table book. So he asked Jeepers, no, let me back up. So I had a friend by the name of Kerry Granston out of Detroit, who was a leather and fur designer. And he had this bad, full-length, to the ankle leather coat.
Wow.
With ticket pockets and a peak lapel.
Next level.
Burgundy.
Wow.
So Tracy asked Jeepers, could we stage a photo shoot? So we went over on Lake Street in the industrial area.
Wow.
And we took this picture that we just showed of Jeepers in this coat.
Let's show it again.
That's how that picture came about.
Look at that.
Okay?
Look at that.
So the book is entitled Pimpnosis. And did very well, and it's going to be re-released. But for those who want to get it, it is on Amazon, okay? But Jeepers became our friend. And his real name was Thomas Jefferson. And he was a great storyteller.
Oh my God, listen to him.
He said when he was locked up in prison, he would talk to himself in the mirror for hours. And he considered himself one of the best orators living. So he had all these, I won't even call it poetry, it was just some spoken word
Right.
that he had in his head.
Wow.
So I asked Jeepers, let's put it, on a recording, and he agreed to.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he could tell some stories.
Oh my God.
He tells a story about when he met Al Capone. Al Capone called him a boy, and he got ready to jump on him, but they were in lockup, and the guards held him back. He tells a story about his hat. He found a dirty hat and took it and put it in his mother's wash tub, and she got mad because the water was filthy. And he took the hat and had it restored at the hat shop.
Wow.
Oh man, he could tell some stories. But Capone told him, he said he didn't mean that, he was giving him a compliment.
Wow.
Because he was clean. Oh man. But I think one of my favorite stories, he talks about when he hung out with Billie Holiday and Lena Horne.
Oh my God. This gentleman was a unique human being. Very intelligent human being. Not formally educated, but highly intelligent.
Very intelligent.
So you get a chance, you can read the book about him, Pimpnosis, written by
Tracy Funches.
You see, and the history is here. But Bruce, I want to take this thing to another level. We're here. First of all, before we do that, let's tell the people, we've explained to them about the building that we're in. Let's explain to them where we are, the address of where this property is, what you do here, and how they can contact you.
We are at 436 East 47th Street, 436 East 47th Street, and we work by appointment, 7 days a week. You can give me a call, 312-391-0831. You can email me at M like mother, D like dad, M like mother, U like uncle, O like Oscar, M like Mary, O as in orange, at gmail.com. And you can follow us on Instagram, Miglio, MILGIO, DIMARIOUMUOMO on Instagram. That's Miglio D Mario Uomo on Instagram.
And we're in Chicago. So we're going to talk about some of your garments and the quality of what you do, and let you explain some of the conversation that we've been having.
So,
the difference in quality.
So this suit here, I'm very excited about because it's 100% cashmere.
Wow.
By Windsor. This is out of Germany.
Wow.
So the Germans are like the Italians.
I swear.
They make clothing like they make the BMWs and Mercedes-Benz. Everything is with precision. The pants to match. Pleated. Single pleat.
How would they process that cashmere?
Oh, this is luxurious.
I get it.
This is for the man that's got everything.
I get it.
Because this is not a suit that you wear every day.
Right.
This is a suit you probably wear twice a year.
What would a suit like that? What would a suit like that cost?
Beaver hat. This suit here is the retail on is $1,600.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Right. Not bad.
If it was Tom Ford, it would be $5,000.
This is what we call pimpish.
Real pimpish.
I mean, I'm just telling the truth. It doesn't have anything with sex, selling sex or whatever. It's the style, you know. And this is.
Let me tell you how pimpish it is.
Yeah.
I had a customer to buy this hat, and his wife made him bring it back.
Hey, man, where do you think you're going?
But he loved the hat. This is Beaver. And he told me he couldn't find no hat that he liked till he tried that on. And he really liked that hat. His wife said no, made him bring it back.
You see the brim on this hat? You see how the tip of that hat is broken? When you wear his garments, hey, you're going to distinguish yourself.
Here's another suit. Again, this suit is German also. And it has stretch in it. 90% wool with 10% stretch. And when you put it on, you can feel the stretch. It's like to the point. Feel it now.
You ain't got to put it on.
It's like to the point where you can do karate in it, and it moves. This is sheared Persian lamb.
I'll let you do it, because I'm going to put that coat on. Yeah, I'm going to let you explain it first.
Sheared Persian lamb with the leather lining. Okay.
This is what I'm trying to explain to you. This is where the original G's is going. You know, when you call Mario Uomo, when you call Mr. Gage, this is what's going to happen to you. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're getting ready to go to the ball like Cinderella, and hey, it's gonna turn your pumpkin into a gold carriage. I mean, this is crazy. And that's what he does. He picks the unique things that are just crazy. I don't know if you're seeing that. That's lined in leather. That's next level. For real, for real. Because this is artwork. This is artwork. So you can get ready. I'm gonna show you a couple of more pieces before we get out of here. I'm telling you, it just gets crazier and crazier. It don't get no better, it just gets crazier and crazier.
Well, we call it the Melvin Van People's red leather 7/8 coat with ticket pockets and a zipper.
Oh man.
Out of Toronto.
First of all,
Oh,
show the interior of this coat. Look how crazy that is. Paisley crazy.
lining.
Now watch this. We're talking a different level of the game here. You understand what I'm saying?
Navy blue.
Navy blue
hair.
pony hair. Looks like the pony is still alive. You understand what I'm saying? Treat it that well. Crazy, crazy. Look at the shadow on this coat. I think this one is killing the black one, Bruce.
I think so. That's why I did it.
Whoa, man, this.
I couldn't make up my mind, so I did both.
This is next level. This is OG. I'm just saying, you know. This is OG here. This is crazy. Look at the back of that. Look at the quality of it in the back. Oh my God. This is insane, man. When you walk, this thing talks. But that's what we want to get back to. I'm gonna tell you, man, I had never seen nothing like it. It was Billy D. Williams. Lady Sings the Blues. He played Lewis. I ain't seen nothing could top it yet. That had to be almost 50 years ago. Go back and watch that. He wasn't no joke. He killed the game.
Oh, that's one of the top 5 fashion movies ever made.
From the perspective of what you have seen to date, I'm gonna ask an expert. What does an OG look like in this world?
An OG is that guy, man or woman, who has been full circle in life, who has made mistakes, who has rebounded and have no regrets. That is an OG.
You know, keep coming back, you know, stay part of the community. I need you to subscribe and follow. We're building this thing rapidly. There's a community here that we want to be able to share the information with. So I need you to subscribe and follow.
For more style, more information, more OG lifestyle, subscribe to the OG Nation, the OG Network. Mr. Rick.
That's it. That's all. We have created this show so that men and women alike can come forward and tell their truth. If you have people that you believe to be an OG, go into the comment section, write us, let us know where to find the history so that we can authenticate it, bring them on the show, tell their story so that we can add to the American history. That's it. That's all.
The original OG.